Hey folks, so we've had 6 days of shit weather, like really cold and typically raining, and first day in about 6 days I've been able to actually get out here and do anything. And yeah, as you can see, we still got water everywhere, so it's a muddy mess. But before I forget, I want to cover one thing from the Sawmill purchase video. On the way there, the plan was to, if I got there and wouldn't work on the bed of the truck, is to get like an open U-Haul trailer, and didn't think it would be a big deal. Well, I got there, and because of the craziness about the way people are moving around the country, I happen to be in an area where you couldn't rent them. Get out of there. You couldn't rent a trailer for one way. They'd only rent it to you for round trip and local. So the U-Haul thing wasn't an option. So that's why I ended up having to buy one. Forgot to mention that. Kind of annoying. They're in the business of renting trailers for just such a purpose, and you can't get them. So, I mean, if I'd have known that ahead of time, I wouldn't have. It's not like I would have rented one here and drove it down and brought it back up, because, you know, by the time I paid the extra gas to haul the trailer down and all that stuff, fuck that. I mean, as it turned out, it probably worked out for the best. So I can still use this thing for now. Alright, so when last we left, I was going to go get a load of cement. Well, I came across a better solution, at least for the temporary Sawmill location, and we'll see how it works, and it might be used for the permanent as well. But Home Depot, which I didn't realize, sells used railroad ties. So I was able to get some that are in relatively good condition, and the beauty of these things is they won't ever rot. I mean, they soak this stuff in this creosote stuff, just like same thing they soak telephone poles in, which is why they can pull a telephone pole out years later and it isn't rotten. They do crack from getting beat up from the trains rolling over them, but I was able to get 8 of them that are in relatively good shape that'll be useful. So, and they were cheaper than buying 6x6s, which is why I went with that route, because that's how I found them. I was looking at 6x6s and they came up on the people also looked at list. So what we're going to do, I thought about it last couple days while I haven't been able to work, and what we're going to do is, there's a drive here, and I'm going to have to do some dirt work to get it to where I can set it up. Doesn't have to be perfectly level, but it's got to be a hell of a lot more level than it currently is. Right now it goes from up there and then slopes down here and also kind of angles this way. So I'm going to have to move some dirt around. I've got to figure out where I'm going to steal the dirt from. A likely candidate is over in this area where I could clear out some of these kind of brush and small tree type of things, because it's right next to one of those runoffs, and quite honestly I got to do work in there anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. And I got plenty of places else where I can dirt and move it around in the property and such. especially once I get to the other side. There's going to be quite a bit of dirt removal over there, so to create a pad. A lot of times you have to build up dirt to create a pad. In the case over there, I'm going to actually have to cut dirt out, which means I can use it over on this side to fill in like the driveway and areas and other low areas on this piece of property here. Now, I haven't made a final decision on shop location, but I'm back to leaning towards having the house over there on the ridge, and since this is already cleared and not much more work to where I could actually start building the shop, I'm going to take, I think I've said this before, but these two pines here, that oak tree there, and that pine tree right in front of the pile of logs over there. So these 4 trees on this corner are going to come out, and I'll be knocking those over before I put the sawmill over here, because I don't want to take a chance on them falling the wrong way and taking out the sawmill. I got no insurance on that, so that would suck. So I don't know, I'm kind of struggling with what I want to do today. Need to get back in the groove here. It's muddy as fuck, so I'm not sure it's a real good day for dirt removal, but what it might be a good day for is to clear out the area where I'm going to steal the dirt from over here and start digging some dirt out. Knock that off. Trying to get my shoes again. So, I mean, I could clear out this little corner here and start stealing some dirt from there. And also, I'm going to, once I raise this up, I want to, the water comes down here, you can kind of see it drains downhill. So I want to alleviate that situation and force it to go. It's coming off of my neighbor's property over here, and this one corner of my little piece of my property, and it's running down this way. Well, I want to make it go and run into that existing runoff ditch. So I think I can do it at least temporarily without any pipe, but we'll have to see. We'll also see. What I may do is actually grade this for the sawmill, and then wait for another rain and see what it does, because I can tell obviously afterwards what the aftermath is. Stop that. You're already a muddy mess. Look at this dog. Stop it. She's completely covered. She's been diving in puddles. I mean, it's only 50 degrees out. It does not feel warm because we got a breeze. So on top of everything else, the sun's out. It's a nice day, but my God. So put it this way, it's cool enough out here. I'm not putting her outside while I work because I'm worried she's going to get too cold. So I've been leaving her in the car for what I've been doing so far. So what I did so far today is I unloaded these off the trailer. And these things are heavy. Fortunately, there were 2 young guys that loaded them for me at Home Depot, and they were struggling, and they weren't small guys. So, I mean, I could have helped and done it, but I'm glad they sent out 2 guys so I didn't have to bother with it. So, the plan for the temporary sawmill location is going to be, I don't want the head and the engine and all that sitting out in the weather. So, after I get it located, which it's going to be, the head's going to be where I'm standing basically, and it's going to go out that way. That's because you got to load from this side. So I'm going to need to have it out a little ways and have a spot here where I can walk along with it. That's going to be where we're going to set up the sawmill, and then we're going to set up a temporary sawmill enclosure that's just going to be big enough to fit the head. And then it's also going to be wider off to the side to where I can make like a little enclosed shed where I can start putting all this stuff and my generator and air compressor and things like that in the shed. And then if I do go ahead and pull the trigger on this location over here for the shop, I will start building the shop as I can cut lumber. Oh my God. Look at the camera. It's got just Dover face right in. Unbelievable, this dog. So basically, if I build the shop here, what's going to happen is I'm going to leave these trees will be gone, so there'll be some space over here, and I'm going to do what's called a monitor barn, and that is, you've seen them, I'm sure. If I showed you a picture, you'd know what it is, but you've got a center section that's higher in the middle, and then off each side you've got like a lean-to type section that are usually enclosed on a monitor barn. I'm going to do one lean-to that's enclosed and one lean-to on this side that's not enclosed, and that's going to be the location for, on one half is going to be the location for the sawmill, and on the other half is going to be location that I can cover I can park the backhoe under a roof so it can be out of the weather. So that's kind of the game plan. Now, I'm not sure yet how I'm going to position it. I may do it kind of on an angle like this, and then that driveway, which I was going to remove after I get the other driveway finished, but now I'm thinking I keep that and keep both driveways, and this, then it can come over here and curve around and lead to like kind of a back way to get to the shop, and then the other driveway is going to come up here, up over the ridge, and go right along here. So I'll have a big circular driveway where if I ever have to have cement trucks or deliveries with big trucks or anything like that, or for my own use, they can come in one way, go out the other if they had to. That way they don't have to worry about turning it around. So that's where we're at, and I just wanted to say those things before I get to work here. I got to get this dog out of the mud. I'll talk to you later. All right. Well, not finished yet, but we've raised it up a little bit. A little hard work in the dirt because it's so wet, but I've still got to bring the end closest to us up further. We're still on a slope coming this way, but I've raised it up. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but we've raised it up quite a bit. And right here it was really dropping off, so got to dump more in. I mean, it doesn't need to come out all this far, so I need to start bringing this part up. And then I've got a laser level I'll bring out and check for grade, like in terms of like how much further I got to bring it up and where it's low and where it's high and that kind of thing, before I lay down the railroad ties and measure it all out and all that stuff. But we took a lot of dirt out anyway. Quite a bit of little bit of dirt out of here, and I don't know how many. I lost track of how many. That big bucket on the front is a 1 cubic yard, and I lost track of how many buckets I did, but it was a lot. I don't know. Maybe you can get an idea if I step back here from it a little bit. And you can probably see that it's still, yeah, it's definitely still angled down. So I've got to bring probably from about where the backhoe meets the rest of the machine, that arm. back to, oh, a little behind where those old tires are. So I better bring that up more. So you're talking about many more yards of dirt has to get moved over there, and then I've got to really try to grade it out, but I need it to dry out first. All right, well, day 2 on building the pad for the sawmill, and pretty much got, I think, enough dirt up there. I know it's not level yet, but I think there's enough dirt and enough kind of wiggle room where I can bring my laser level tomorrow and get it the way I want it. I want to let it dry out one more night, and the ground's still pretty wet, and see what we got. But essentially, we've raised it up in some spots, like right there. That's probably 3 feet higher than it was. I'm almost level with my neighbor's land right now, which it wasn't, except for on that one end, pretty close. It's not that far off from being level, but probably what will happen is I'll have to scrape some from this side over that side and then compact it again with the backhoe. But I figure I need about 7 feet wide, which this is more like about 10. I didn't do right where these parts are sitting, obviously, so once the thing's up here, I'll bring a little more dirt in here and fill in this spot right in here. So I think tomorrow we might be putting in some railroad ties and start placing the sawmill in its location. So I promised my neighbor that I would, he's got a burn pile that's got too much dirt in it, so I told him I'd separate that out for him. So I think I'll take a little while and start doing that. Evening, folks. Getting late in the day. Sun's going down. Obviously I'm burning today. Bought myself a cool little new toy. Basically it's a glorified flamethrower, which I needed for something else later on in the project, but I figured I'd get it now because another little side thing you can do with it is start the burn pile without any accelerant. So spent the last couple days working on the base for the sawmill. So we'll head over there now and see where we're at. So I got 3 of the cross members there down on the ground and leveled. Check the level on these 2 pieces, which is where like the sawmill itself will rest, and of course they'll go down further, or ones like them. So those aren't attached yet, they're just laying there, because tomorrow I got to measure and then put in use a string to like go right down the line so everything's lined up. I use stone for a little bit of stone, not much, for the base of these cross members to get them to where I can more easily level those up. Put that down. My God. Drop that. And I've got one more at the end to do, but I'm going to put up the rest of it first. So I'll be able to get the first 2 sections, the one with the sawmill head and the next section up, and then I can measure to make sure I've got it sitting in the right place. And if I get another extension, I'll just go get a couple more railroad ties and add another piece. But I mean, this is going to be, if it can hold the train loaded with cargo, it can hold a sawmill. I've got the first 3 lined up. That last one hasn't been placed in yet, so it's just laying there. I just wanted to cut it, get it drilled for the way I'm attaching those to the ground is I drill 1 hole on each side, and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I've got a pin on each side, and what that is just 3/8 inch rebar stakes, 2 foot long. So it's just to keep it from shifting around when I put a log on. So tomorrow I'll get these measured out and get those finally positioned. I've got long spikes to connect those to the cross members, and then we'll continue down, put the next set on, and then hopefully finish up the last piece. Hey folks, so we're almost there. I've got 2 of the 3 sections up. I've got to put the other railroad ties up and get that last section up and get it finished leveling it out. I've got it kind of almost there on the level, but not quite. Like I said, we got to put up the last section of railroad ties, and then put the last bed on, level the whole thing, and then we will screw these feet down to the railroad ties and keep it from shifting back and forth when we put a log on. And we're going to throw a log on there and see what we get. So, alright folks, well, it's set up. The only thing I got left to do is I've got to secure these feet to the railroad ties. But I think we're going to put a log on here and see what we got. I did a couple of test cuts, and right there you got a 6x6 by a little more than 8 pine post. That's a 6x6 by about a little more than 8. That's oak. Got a 2x6, a 1x6. I cut some pieces for because you gotta set these things up flat so they can dry. So I cut some pieces for that. Discovered I've got some adjustments I need to make to the bed in terms of leveling. Right now it's not cutting square, so rather than I was going to cut all day today, but my back's tightening up and I don't feel like fucking with leveling, so I'm going to cut it off for today and worry about that shit tomorrow. Better to do that when I'm not frustrated, which I am right now.